I thank God every time I remember you. In all my prayers for you, I always pray with joy because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. Thank you so much for your invitation to preach, and I'm so sorry that I can't be with you this morning. As you can see, I'm in my attic in Derbyshire, so although I can't be with you in person, I'm at least preaching from on high. The story of the road to Emmaus, it has to be one of my favourite stories. It's not all about bread, but it's quite a lot about bread. The story unfolds at walking pace as the two disconsolate friends make their way home. And then it pivots on its heel, moving the narrative from despair to elation as they run back to tell the others of their encounter with the risen Christ. And there are some eye-twinkling moments in the story too. The fact that Jesus has been with them as a stranger all the time. I can tell you for one, if a stranger had joined me on the road after a long, hard day and started explaining the scriptures from the beginning, I'm not sure I would have invited them to stay for dinner. But then the unusual action of Jesus is also an eye-twinkling moment. A visitor, a man, being the one to break the bread, that's very strange. At the table, they were shocked, and in that shock, they realise that it is Jesus, just before he vanishes. I've just completed a year as president of the Methodist Conference, and I started the year by walking to conference along the canal systems from Huddersfield to Birmingham, as one does. I walked in a small core group, and then we were joined by others along the way. Some came for just an hour or so, others stayed a few days. Some who joined us walked far too fast for the weary ones. Some joined us quietly and fell into step with us. As the little group made progress, we learnt how to share our companions. We took it in turns to be with the talkative ones and then dropped back to let somebody else take a turn. There was always somebody at the back, making sure that the tired walkers were not being left behind. And in this way, as we travelled together, as we walked together, we became companions. What we experienced over that couple of weeks is also the experience of a lifetime as people fall into step alongside us for a while and then maybe disappear again. Some we find again later on our journey, others we hold in our memories with thanksgiving or a wry smile. This has been true for John Bradbury and myself. We met in Liverpool over a bowl of bread dough. We both ministered in the city centre. Then we went in different directions before meeting up again in Cambridge. It's been true this year also for myself and Nigel Uden, as we've rubbed shoulders at various curious events representing our particular denominations. And I'm sure it's true for all of you that are part of this service. The people we celebrate today have in some way come to be our companions, have fallen into step beside us along the road. Now, of course, this analogy becomes a little bit tricky when we're in the virtual world of Zoom. We don't, on the whole, have random encounters on the internet, but rather have to be invited into a meeting or at a set time be sent a password for accessing a room. We can, if we choose, not listen to each other or decide to mute ourselves. We are subject to the meeting administrator to give us access to the conversation. And if we started explaining the scriptures, beginning with Moses, we would soon have our microphones turned off. Whilst all this technology is a wonderful gift to us in the light of the physical distancing requirements, it's not satisfactory for people who seek to walk the path of faith. We have an incarnate faith, a flesh and blood relationship with Jesus. We need the physical reality of each other as we travel. And I am fearful that our proficiency on the internet might lure us into thinking that the virtual world can replace the real one, that internet worship is sufficient, that we no longer need the mess and muddle of real human contact. Being partners in the gospel means that we need each other. And I suspect that until we wake up to who and what we are missing when we are apart, all schemes of church unity or amalgamation will fail. As the URC and the Methodist churches, we need to walk alongside each other as friends and companions, letting our conversations meander through agreements and controversies until we are able to sit at the table as friends. And as people challenged by diversity, racism, xenophobia, we need to be able to look physically into the eyes of real people and walk the path together until we realize what we would miss if these diverse companions vanished and we were alone again. On our walk to the Methodist conference, we were hosted by many Methodist churches along the route. We ate our ever-increasing body weight in cake and sandwiches. We sat around tables with people unknown to us, but full of grace and hospitality. They brought us bowls of water for our tired feet and fresh towels to dab our sore blisters. To be companions literally means to be together in bread. To be human in this way, to share the resources we have, to fall into step with those who accompany us for part of the journey. This is the gospel. In the letter to the Philippians, we hear Paul express his ache for the people he cannot see. He longs to be with them, to encourage them, to share their faith journey, and to be continuing partners in the gospel. And so too, I ache for you. I long to be with you, but I remember you in my prayers with thanksgiving as partners, companions in the gospel. Amen.